attention, cause I'm missing you. I dove into the deep end, cause I thought I could swim, but we break up every weekend. Was it gonna be like that? Oh, I just wanted you so bad. Don't be just like
what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Whip it to the right, whip it to the left. Whip it to the right, whip it to the left. Whip it to the right, whip it to the left. Hands in the air like the roof's falling. What you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear.
Welcome, everyone. Tuesday night. Nope, just kidding. Wednesday night. It is Wednesday night to the semifinals of the GAC League of Legends playoffs. It is SNU versus the University of Arkansas-Monticello Boll Weevils tonight. Going to be the second seed versus, I want to say, second seed versus third seed. So let's take a quick look at this week before we get down to the breakdown of tonight's game. Big week for SNU Esports. Going to be a massive month for us. So if you're tuning in and want to support, this is how you can do that. So tonight, obviously, GAC League of Legends playoffs kicks off in the semifinals. It is going to be us starting the first game, and then following us, it will be ECU going to play, I want to say OBU, yes. So then next week, look to see winners of both matches into the League of Legends GAC finals, and we will get that streamed for you. But that's tonight. We take a look kind of into the future, but before we do that, let's take a look into the past. Last night, Rocket League clinching a playoff spot, but not only doing that, taking the #1 seed in the NECC division. They are headed to the playoffs, looking to make their return to the national championship stage. And so they are going in as the #1 seed, only dropping one game that whole season. So very good for them. Happy for them. If you ever want to catch one of their games, most of the time they're going to be on Thursday night. So we will be bringing those live to you as well. But the rest of this week, Friday, we have a big homecoming game coming at you. Rocket League versus the University of Oklahoma. So if you've ever wanted to watch, ever wanted to support SNU esports, that is the time to do so. It's going to be at 9:30, a little bit of a time change for you. I've been promoting it at 9. It's going to be at 9:30, and then that will take place in Don Beaver Room 217. But I also think there's something special going to happen in the Sawyer Center. I think our guy Phil is going to get that match broadcasted on the screen in the Sawyer Center. So if you're at the basketball game and you don't want to leave, and the basketball game's over, but you're comfy, you should be able to watch it from the comfort of your seats in there. But if you want to watch the guys live and in person, Don Beaver Room 217 or twitch.tv/SNU Esports. Right here, we'll be there. So feel free, come join us for that. That's going to be a big matchup, big homecoming matchup for the guys as they gear up for their NECC playoffs. But one huge thing coming at you next week. I was trying to do the math there. It is next week. Next Thursday is our big J Poppy ranked race stream. So if you want to know what that is, it is going to be 24/7 action for 7 days, and we will be right towards you for all of that. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back for this game.
In these challenging times, it's important to remember that Oklahoma can weather anything. At Re-Roof America, we work hard every day to protect what matters most to you, your home, family, and community, because we live here too. Our roofers are still working hard to keep your family safe and dry, no matter what is thrown our way. While we are apart for now, keeping our distance, together we will come back stronger than ever. So just remember, at Re-Roof America, we're keeping your family protected.
Here we go now. Oh, here we go now. Yeah. I'm on a mission. Are you seeing?
We're back. So let me pick up where we left off. First off, thanks to our sponsors, Re-Roof America, and our new sponsor. I don't know if you have caught that. We now have a new sponsor, Central Oklahoma Win Nelson Company, really helping us out this year for SNU Esports. So shout out them. If you ever need any plumbing or roofing needs, those are your go-to people in Oklahoma. But back to next week, November 13th. Drew and I found out today. We were planning on the 14th. But I think it drops a little bit early. So November 13th, we are going to do our biggest fundraiser of the year. Trying to raise around $4,000 for our program. That money goes straight towards sending teams traveling, supporting teams, supporting players getting here, supporting our new gear that we have to fund every year. So we appreciate any help that we can get through that. There's some big donation goals throughout the stream. I think one of them is me dyeing my beard. So that will be interesting we hit that, but excited to see all that is to come for that. But along with that, we are opening up an SNU Esports gear shop. So for the first time ever, you are able to get SNU Esports gear. If you want a hoodie, if you want a t-shirt, if you want a long sleeve shirt, a lightweight hoodie, a hat, sweatpants, all kinds of things on that shop. Part of that money will go towards our school as well as our esports program. So if you ever wanted to get gear, November 14th is when that shop's going to open. It's going to stay open for 1 week, and then we should be good to go. And we want to say thank you for all of the support that we've gotten from you guys this year. So let's take a look at tonight's breakdown. We've seen Monticello before. We played them early on in the season. I want to say it was our first or second game, but they're coming in 3-2, only 2 losses to the top 2 teams. ECU going to finish the season 5-0, so undefeated. SNU only dropping a game to ECU, and then Monticello coming in at that 3rd seed 3-2. OBU taking home the 4th seed 2-3. But when you take a look back at the matchup that we had against Monticello, kind of a domination. Sue me, I don't know. But first game, Caden down in the bot lane, gonna pick up that Nyla, went 18-1, just absolutely torching it down there. And that was kind of the first game we got to see Bubba really take on the support role. He really got to find his footing and what he was kind of his role in the team. That's when you got to see his Yumi pocket pick. He has loved Yumi this entire season, so don't expect him, probably going to get banned away from him today. We will find out. But we are going to get under picks and bans here in a second. But let's take a look at game 2. Game 2, a little bit kind of a different story. Obviously, Caden still doing what Caden does, ending that game 11-4 on Tristana, not an ADC that he normally plays, but he got very banned out into game 2. Rightfully so, after when you drop 18 kills, very much so should be banned out. But a very big performance in that game 2 from Thomas, going 12-0-11. Did not die, had a perfect game, but 23 kill participation. That is massive from your mid laner. He's going to lock in that Morgana in that game 2, and just really kind of setting himself apart. Because when you do look at UAM and you do analyze their team, their mid laner is going to be their point of interest. That is where they kind of focus around. That is what they're looking for when they are going into picks and bans. And so expect to see that today. I think we should be getting underway here. Yeah, should be getting underway. We're waiting on them to join the draft, but should be getting underway here in any second. And very excited. So let me just think about kind of the draft. I do expect a very instant ban on the Nyla. If I'm Arkansas-Monticello, you really got to focus those 3 picks bans. Really those first 3 bans kind of geared towards Caden, just because I think when you look at the SNU team, and we've talked a lot about, obviously Caden is that top ranked player, but we've seen a lot of SNU pressure kind of shift from last year, where it was just the pressure on the bottom lane. We've seen a lot kind of more geared towards the top lane. Maybe just the top side, I guess. Mid lane, Thomas is doing a really good job, but Derek and Mason in the jungle kind of really taking control of what this team is going to need. And so as we wait, it looks like they are having some tech issues, which that's a classic esports thing, so get used to it. But when you look towards kind of just what this game is going to bring, I do expect Monticello to ban out Caden here. So I'm expecting a Nyla ban. I really kind of maybe, I know Caden has been toying around. He got to pick Yunara last week. I wasn't here last week on the mic, but I did get to watch him play Yunara. He's been fiddling around with that in solo queue. So I don't know if Arkansas-Monticello fully knows just kind of the power that Yunara has right now. But if you've been watching League of Legends Worlds, you understand that this champion is scary when it gets ahead. And so maybe Monticello will kind of just ban that out. But if not, expect to see a Yunara somewhere in this game, especially somewhere in this pick ban phase. We are, again, still waiting on Monticello as I'm getting word from Josh. Shout out Josh for running all the tech behind the scenes. Yeah, still waiting on some of their tech issues to get fixed. But let's take a look again, kind of what this week or what this really playoff push is going to look like for SNU. Tonight versus Monticello, the Boll Weevils, ECU versus OBU. Really do expect ECU to kind of pull out of that game pretty easily. Again, 5-0. Haven't dropped an a series yet. They have dropped a game, and so it'll be interesting to see what that will look like. So I expect ECU to come out of that, and I really do expect SNU to kind of pull through in this game as well. So if you do look at an ECU SNU final, it's going to be a rematch of last year, where SNU did win the GAC, got their rings. I have my ring right here. Got their rings. I'll pull it out to show you guys, but got their rings last year off of a very hard fought victory against ECU. ECU really the team to beat in this. Oh, there it is. A little phasey. It's the green screen is really not liking that, but just kind of one of those really cool things. And then I'm getting word Halo is playing at 8:30 off stream, so Josh is going to go see who they're playing. But Halo also another team gearing up for playoffs as well. I think they start playoffs here in about 2 weeks. So you've got Rocket League in the NECC playoffs. They locked in the number 1 seed. League of Legends semifinals tonight. They are in the GAC playoffs, and Halo in 2 weeks going to head out and go to the college Halo playoffs. Marvel Rivals, with a dominant performance on Monday, locked themselves into the GAC playoffs. So all around a great year, great seasons for SNU Esports. Very excited to see all of the pushes from the teams. They've been working really hard, analyzing their games, putting in the time on and off the video game, just to make sure that they are prepared and ready for the year. And then they're playing UCF tonight, University of Central Florida. So I will want to shout out to, if you are not following us on Instagram, that is the perfect way to find out how and when we are playing throughout this year. So please do so. Looks like we're going to have a little 3 minutes. So we'll send it to a quick break. Before we do, again, want to shout out all of our major sponsors. Re-Roof America have been with them for 2 years now. So really, really happy to continue doing great work with them. I want to shout out Central Oklahoma Win Nelson Plumbing Company. One of our more recent sponsors, has been pretty awesome to help out and really clutch for a lot of the stuff that they do in the plumbing business around Oklahoma. And then Primal Nerds, if you card shop, local trading card store down the street, if you are in the market for any cards, please go and use our logo. It sounds like people are joining, but I don't think they are. So we're going to send it to a quick commercial break. We will be right back for Picks and Bans. See you soon. And we're back. I think we are ready to go again, heading into the picks and ban phase for SNU semifinals for the GAC playoffs. Gonna be exciting. Very, very ready. I talked to Caden a little bit before. He just hit Masters, and if you are not familiar with League of Legends, Masters is the second highest rank you can hit in the game. So he actually, I want to say, hit it today. I just talked to him and I said, I did not realize you were that high of rank. And he said, yeah, just played a couple games and got it. So pretty awesome from him, coming in at the, again, second highest rank that you can be. And here we go. University of Arkansas-Monticello going to immediately ban the Nyla. Like I said, you're gonna have to, after the dominant performance that Caden had on the first game of last time we played. Got to get it out of there. Silas is a very common ban against us right now. I think Thomas is grinding Silas in solo queue. So just kind of expect that maybe throughout the night. Silas is a very just controlling mage. Can get into a team fight and just really just blow up your back line. So also another champion that kind of has frequented Worlds a little bit. And so I think SNU going to be watching a lot of that, taking a lot of their playstyle out of what's going on in Worlds is exciting. SNU looking to ban out, I guess, their jungler, Sejuani and Amumu ban. Both junglers that have been banned from SNU have a very big AoE stun ultimate. And so SNU not wanting to get locked down, so expect that maybe their bottom lane to be a little bit more mobile. When you look at it, I would probably consider seeing a Yuumi if you are SNU, just kind of keeping your team in check, a little bit more passive support. But if they're looking to play aggressive, maybe seeing a Nautilus come in from Cam. I know Cam doesn't super play Nautilus, but has it in his back pocket when he needs to. And then University of Monticello going to ban out Volibear. Volibear, a big flex pick here for SNU, goes top or jungle. And instead of banning Yuumi, Monticello is going to pick Yuumi. So very interested to see what Cam picks here. I know he has played a little bit of Melio, but I'd like to see him play a little bit more control support, maybe a support that has the ability to just kind of take over and get Caden these kills. Caden's going to go back to his OG misfortune, and there's the Nautilus pick from Cam. Like I said, something that he has in his back pocket. It is that control support that I'm talking about. Nautilus has the Q to be able to pull Arkansas-Monticello back towards Caden into a stun, and expect a lot of kills coming in from that bottom lane. Monticello going to lock in Malphite, which is another kind of pick ban from them. As we have Derek in the top lane, who does love to play Malphite, and then Monticello going to lock in their mid laner with Victor. So Monticello hasn't fully kind of shown their comp here yet, but there's a Morgana pick. Thomas feeling good after the last game against Monticello on Morgana. That game 2 really kind of just showed what he can do on this champion. So he's going to lock that in, and now we are headed into our second phase of bans. SNU going to kick us off here. We have ADC and jungler left, unless that Malphite does flex into the jungle, but I'm going to assume he's going to go top lane here. So expect an ADC ban. Just kidding. Going to ban out the Shaco jungle. Not something that SNU has seen a ton this semester, but I do think, again, one of those junglers that has a lot of CC abilities, and SNU just not wanting to deal with that. Monticello going to ban out Set. Not one of Derek's, unless Derek's just been grinding Set in solo queue that I don't know. Not one of Derek's top champions, but I do think Derek is in an interesting spot topside, as Garen, his main champion, not probably the best right now in the meta. So maybe expect a Mordekaiser ban from Monticello here, but instead going to ban out, interesting ban, Jin Zhao. So SNU probably going to pick the Mordekaiser here. Derek does do really well. Instead is going to switch it over to Mundo. So interesting to see this choice here from SNU. Not the most damage heavy top laner, but you were good on that situation. You already have an MF, you already have a Morgana. and a lot of CC coming in from SNU. You have a slow on Misfortune. You have a pull on Nautilus, a stun on Nautilus. There's the Mordekaiser. Derek switching back over to Mord, and that is kind of what I figured. I did like the Mundo pick, but not really going to be your most damage dealing top lane when you really are trying to burst whoever Nautilus is able to pick up. So switching on over to the Monticello side, Yorick. I know Derek hates playing against Yorick, so this will be an interesting matchup over on the top side. And Monticello going to finish us out here with, with their ADC in Ezreal. So one of the more interesting, I mean, you're going to pick Ezreal into a Nautilus to try to maybe dodge his Q. Ezreal Yuumi lane, it just doesn't do enough damage in my opinion, especially when you're looking at Caden's Misfortune. And I mean, when you're playing up against a Masters player who is in this ADC role, has the ability to take over a game like he does, it will just get really interesting to see kind of how all of that will play out. But SNU going to lock in the J4, and I mean, back to CC. You've got a knock up from J4. You've got a pull from Mordekaiser. You got Mordekaiser's ult that just takes somebody out of the fight. A stun from Morgana, 2 stuns from Morgana, a pull from Nautilus, a stun from Nautilus, a slow from Misfortune. I mean, that is what you like to see coming out of a champion select pick and ban phase. And when you look over at the Monticello side, you don't really have that as much. You maybe have a Victor stun. You have a great ult from Malphite, but I mean, Malphite's going to ult in, and then what? You don't have that burst that you're going to need, especially coming from Malphite and his team. So as we gear in to as we get up and get ready to gear into this game, we are going to head into the actual champion select and then into our 3-minute spectator delay. But going to be a very interesting game. Like I said, I think really what you're going to want to watch is this bot lane. I say it every week, and unfortunately, I think it just stays true every week. Caden is going to really just kind of shine in this bottom lane. I'm really excited to see Cam on Nautilus. I think that's a good pick from him. Kind of expanding his just comfortability a little bit. And that's kind of hard for Cam to do. Again, he's a new player into League of Legends. And not only that, he's thrown into a defending GAC champion team. And so this will be really good to see just kind of where he stands in all of this. See where he stands in all of this and how he is going to just kind of fit into this role and maybe the future of what they look like. Sorry, just answering some questions. But, yep, here we go. We're going to gear into the delay. But as we do, again, just a quick reminder of all the things ahead. We have a big game on Friday for Rocket League. Would love to see everybody out and about. Would love to see you in the room. Don Beaver 217, show up, get loud. We'll have chairs for you. But if you don't want to do that and you want to stay at the basketball arena, Sawyer Center should be having it on the big screen. Very excited about that. We've never done that before. Or you can just tune in, twitch.tv/SNU Esports, YouTube, SNU Esports. I think we're live on TikTok, SNU Esports. A lot of platforms to follow us on. So that is going to be Friday at 9:30 versus the claimed Boomer Sooners. That will be fun to watch. Very good Rocket League team coming in to play us during homecoming. And then next week is going to be a huge week for everybody. I want to say Marvel Rivals starts their playoffs next week. Rocket League starts their playoffs next week. League of Legends, depending on how this series goes, could be in the finals of their playoffs next week. And so just across the board, SNU Esports is showing out a lot of things planned, a lot of things coming up, and then obviously our big fundraiser. We'll start sending out the link to buy gear if you've ever wanted it, and a lot of people have asked for it. To buy gear, that is the time to do so. So we're very excited about that. I got to see a little sneak peek of our little shop today and all the cool items that are in it. And I'm very, very excited to see people walking around with some SNU esports gear. But back to the game. 1 minute left on our favorite time of the game, spectator delay, before we hop into what is going to be game one of a best of 3 series. Now, a little something, I think the finals of League of Legends is going to be played live. So if it is ECU SNU, we will let you know on who is traveling to what school. If it's OBU SNU, same thing. So it should be played live. We are waiting to hear confirmation on that. But if it is, we will make sure to get you guys the link to watch it, or it might be honestly streamed on ours. So just excited. It'll be a really fun for the guys to go play in a live venue for the championship game, especially as the defending GAC champions. And Danny Thompson, I love quoting it because it is just true. There can only be one first-time GAC esports champion, and that was us. 0 seconds left on the spectator delay. Loading into the game. Here we go. Going to be an electric matchup. Again, kind of the highlight lane to watch here is going to be your bottom lane. So we will keep you updated on everything that is going on down there. But again, want to see Cam really just kind of utilize what this Nautilus pick will look like. But I'm really interested. Mason on this Jarvan is going to be huge. Jarvan having a lot more mobility on Malphite than a Malphite. And here we go. We're already getting pings onto the bottom lane. And so it looks like a potential SNU invade. And that's what I like. You have a Bubba Q. If he started Q, let's check. Bubba did start Q. And so they are going to look to invade here. And if they're able to get an early pick, especially if it goes on to Kaden, that is going to be massive. But looks like they probably will run into a Malphite. One of the more tankier members, unfortunately, for Monticello, but they're going to wait here. And here they go. SNU going to look for the Q. Wow, beautiful hook from Cam. Cam going in. There's a double stun here from SNU and an immediate first blood. And that is what the team comp is going to do for SNU. And that's what we talked about in the champ select. This team comp is scary. You have so much CC ability coming in from SNU that Monticello just really can't get locked down like that. They have to avoid all of the hooks. And what an absolute beautiful snipe there from Cam. Getting that Q in range, hitting it, and locking the Monticello jungler down. And it looks like Mason is going to get the first blood. I don't know if you got to see all of the pings going out from Kaden. Kaden really wanted that first blood, but unable to get it. And so SNU now going to help Mason in the jungle and head to the bottom lane. But that is so good for SNU. Assists going all across the team. Mason going to get that first blood and bonus gold, which comes from that. And so going to be able to just kind of rush his jungle clear, and then he'll back and be able to buy a very good item. So I will say the Ezreal pick into this Nautilus kind of makes it a little bit more tricky for Cam. Cam's going to have to kind of either judge where Ezreal's going to Ezreal has a dash ability, basically a blink ability is what we call it in League, and is able to kind of just blink around the map. So Cam's going to have to just kind of set himself up here in a good position. What I would love to see from bottom lane here is Cam kind of taking a little bit more control in this lane. He's got the ability to just kind of tank these Ezreal Qs, but I mean, his hook is scary. And so kind of forcing Ezreal off of the wave here is going to be crucial in this bottom wave, or in this bottom lane. And there's a beautiful snipe there from Cam. Kaden just a little bit too far back though, farming those minions. And like I said, when it pans top lane, kind of a bit harder matchup if you're Derek. Maybe not one that you really love. Yorick matchup isn't fun. Actually, it's probably one of my least favorite matchups in the game. Yorick just has so much ability to just kind of poke you out of a lane, especially if you don't have just a ton of wave clear. So we'll keep an eye on everything going on top side, but it looks like, I mean, look at the difference between the two jungles right now. Mason almost done with his first clear of the jungle, and Arkansas-Monticello just getting to his red buff. So Mason already just kind of about 30 seconds ahead, and so he can look for either an early gank and a beautiful hook there from Cam just outside of turret range, and SNU able to get some poke damage down onto UAM's bottom lane. And there is a good pull too from Derek, kind of pushed up a little bit into the turret for UAM, and Mason's going to get the top scuttle crab and kind of set SNU up to kind of dominate the vision on this top side of the jungle. And UAM, again, jungler a little bit far behind. I mean, that's what happens when you get that first blood against you. You're already just kind of set behind a little bit. And SNU going to look to maybe get an early gank mid lane. No, they're going to go for a deeper ward into the UAM jungle there. And Mason's going to go and take down bottom scuttle. So an absolute phenomenal performance already from Mason. Getting top and bottom scuttle is just not something you really see very often. And Derek going to take a big advantage here on this Yorick not having any mana, and Yorick going to have to flash out. And so when you look across the board at the summoner spells, SNU keeping all of their summoner spells up from that first blood. Good on the UAM jungler not to try to flash out of that first blood. He wasn't going to be able to get out of it. Truthfully, he was probably just stun locked the entire time. But SNU going to be up in advantage on summoner spells. And just take a look at the bottom lane and top lane. I mean, across the board. Maybe besides Thomas, this Victor lane is going to be very hard for Thomas and wave clear, but just the CS lead across the board for SNU is huge, and SNU almost up 1k gold 5 minutes into this game, just kind of taking that dominant start that I talked about. SNU bot lane going to go back. Let's see what Caden buys for his first item, and it's going to get a serrated blade, serrated dirk, and a long sword. So I mean, that is 30 more attack damage coming into this lane. Look for them to just immediately try to jump onto this UAM bottom lane. And there we get to see just the power of Yorick throwing up his cage, and Derek just kind of having to sit in it for a little bit and eat some of the damage. But going to be an interesting lane as it gets a little bit later, and there it is. So what we call that big old robot up there is called the Maiden. That is Yorick's ultimate. That thing kind of just sits along with him, and he has a little minion that follows him and consistently will do damage to you if you start attacking Yorick. So Derek now going to have to play a little bit more passive unless he gets a good catch or a good jungle gank here. And Mason now having to go back for the first time, going to get a tunneler and a ruby crystal, and coming back also with a control ward. So a huge buy for Mason. Look for him to go and gank now as he heads towards bottom lane. Both junglers now focusing their attention on this bottom lane here. Mason hopefully can avoid this ward, but I think he catches the UAM jungler down here and drops his red ward into the dragon pit and is able to clear out the vision for UAM. This is not the time to back if you're Malphite, but it looks like Malphite is going to back here for UAM, and now SNU doesn't see him and now has full pressure onto this dragon. They have UAM's bot lane pushed up. We're going to probably see Cam roam up, and Caden probably going to hold this wave a little bit, or Mason just solo the dragon. That would be pretty cool too. And that looks like what he's about to do. So UAM going to give up the dragon pressure as their jungler heads topside, and I love to see that from SNU, just taking early advantage on this map quickly. Something that we've seen a lot from them over the 2 years that we've watched them play, and we've had 2 different junglers. So pretty awesome to see that they're keeping their identity the same. As soon as dragon spawns, that is where they want to head. And so they're going to get the first dragon of the game, a fire dragon. A beautiful Q here from Cam, but is Ezreal going to be able to E out? He does. Actually, he just flashes out, has to flash and Barrios, so both summoners are down for Ezreal. Heal also down for Yuumi, so let's see what SNU can do here, as there's a good kill. Are they going to be able to get 2? An exhaust comes out, is going to have to flash out of tower range. Caden does pick up the second kill, and there goes the barrier for Caden. Victor now flashing to see if he can get in on the action here, and Mason going to have to try to shield himself out of this. May not be able to survive a Victor Q here. And unfortunately, he does not. So Victor going to pick up a shutdown bonus on Jarvan. But 2 for 1 coming in on the side of SNU. A Malphite ult just sent straight into Morgana. And I don't know why he did that. That is just not a good idea if you are Malphite. And so now he has no ultimate, and that leaves... Oh, York's going to try to finish off Void Grubs, but I do think, yeah, SNU going to kind of collapse on Yorick here. Make sure that he's not able to get all 3 of those Void Grubs. Reminder, if you get all 3, you get the full objective point here. And SNU should be able to maybe finish this kill off. A huge shield there coming in from Derek, and here comes Mason. Mason going to get the knock-up on Victor. Victor throws down his son. They're going to try to turn around and maybe get a kill. A good job, though, from Mason to make sure Victor is not able to snag any kills before he goes down. And SNU going to come up on top there. A flash coming in from Malphite and not able to do the damage on... Oh, no. Not able to do enough damage on Morgana, and a huge snipe from Ezreal in the bottom lane, sending his ult top lane and getting Derek. But SNU going to finish off the Malphite again. Thomas going to get that kill, and SNU bottom lane just continuing their aggression down here as a good Q came out from Cam, snagging the Ezreal before he's able to leave, and a good ultimate from Misfortune, sniping the Yuumi, making sure that she had to stay into the bottom side of the lane. And Kaden now has 3 kills, 2 assists, a 5 KP from almost everybody in the team besides Derek, which, again, reminder, top lane is literally an iceberg. You're kind of alone up here most of the time. But a solid start if you're SNU, a 5K gold lead, 1 dragon, and I want to say they got a Void Grub. Yes, they did. So they prevented UAM from getting the 1 objective that they sent a lot of resources out to go get. And that is a solid start for SNU. And you're going to have to try to flash out of that. Going to get pulled into the tower range, and his minions are going to just be doing damage to Derek consistently. So he's going to take the tower aggro and immediately realizes that and is flashing out. Maybe a little bit early flash from him. Probably could have taken 1 tower shot. He does have just a lot of poke coming into this lane. And so, I mean, if you look at the Maiden up there, just really just kind of poking down Derek, it is just one of those things that makes this lane so hard to lane against. And Kaden, when we look at buys across the board, both mid laners going to come back with a Blackfire Torch. Kind of very even in the mid lane, but one lane that is not even, however, is bottom lane. And that is because Kaden is going to have his first fully complete item in a Yumu's Ghostblade. You saw him pop it there. And a great flash from Kaden, flashing the Malphite ult so he does not get knocked up. And then SNU turning that fight on its head. Good job from Mason to be there for the counter gank. And just a beautiful collapse from SNU to make sure that the Malphite gets punished for missing that ult. And SNU going to go up 10 kills to 2. And as we see Derek just getting poked down over and over again, as UAM maybe getting a little overzealous here. There's a beautiful arc coming in from Kaden. Kaden very low, but Yuumi, it's a champion that just doesn't do damage. And unfortunately not able to pick up the kill on Kaden, and Kaden is going to be able to get this wave. Shove bot lane into the tower, and is not going to back. Is going to try to take this tower. So if SNU is able to get this tower, then you're going to expect a switch from bot lane to mid lane, and a beautiful ult coming in from Mason. However, Victor is just so good at what he does. And again, UAM's person to watch was their mid laner, and their Victor turning that fight around, able to drop his ult into the J4 ultimate and making them eat all of the damage as they are stuck in those walls. And so, unfortunately, Thomas just not having fun in that mid lane is going to fall. Is only his first death, however. So, not too bad. Is equal in CS as well. And so, just kind of one of those things that Thomas is doing a really good job, just having a matchup that probably isn't in his favor, but making sure that he's going to stay a force in this game, especially as he's roamed across the map a little bit. But SNU now up 11 kills to 3, up 4.2k gold, 1 void grub, a dragon. I mean, they have complete control of this game. And so there's the lane switch that we see. Mason going to get the second dragon in from SNU. And so now they are looking towards getting the Elder Dragon here in a little bit. But now we see the water or ocean dragon is going to be the next couple. I think it's the next 3 dragons. So we will see how SNU prepares to do that. As Rift gets close to spawning, SNU kind of just looking to make one more play around the map, maybe catching a UAM player out of position, but UAM doing a very good job right now, just kind of sitting at the towers. The only one that they're not. A beautiful Q, though, however, from Cam. Victor going to have to flash out of that. That was a great snipe from Cam. Cam having a very, very good performance on Nautilus. And like I said, that is one champion I want to see him play a lot more. Just the ability to control the game with your CC is going to change how SNU plays this game. And Caden kind of maybe getting a little bit out of position here. A good job, though, hitting the plant and making sure that he stays just enough healthy to stay alive. And UAM not able to get that kill. I think Caden having 450 gold shut down is not something that you want to give over to Victor right now. That is an easy way to put them back into the game. Cam going to try to solo kill here. Maybe just a little bit too deep, however, though, and going to have to immediately back out. Sees the Malphite, doesn't want to get caught up in all of that. And Malphite, luckily, not having his ultimate, though. And so the tower is going to fall. That is the first tower of the game, I think. It is. Caden and Cam not able to get the bottom tower. So the first tower of the game going to go over to the UAM top side. And you're going to see a Victor TP here. Maybe going to flank around to see if he can catch this J4. And Thomas, not anywhere to be seen. He's going to be bottom lane. So we'll see. Mason versus Victor. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. Mason going to accidentally have to eat the entire ultimate. But an amazing flash out of the Victor ultimate. Wow. It's an amazing flash out of the Victor ultimate to not take that last take of damage. And keeping himself alive just enough to get the last passive proc on J4 and knocking Victor out. Just an incredible performance all around from SNU. But a really, really good start to this game from Mason, as he has had so much pressure in the jungle, has denied the UAM jungler almost 20 CS so far, and just really been there for the counter ganks, but also kind of led the charge in getting objectives and where the pressure is on the map. And so SNU going to get the bot and mid tower, as Mason now looks to go take Rift Herald. But I think they caught vision here of Yorick, and there's a lot of pings coming out from both teams knowing that the vision is topside. And so SNU now going to team up here and look to go grab Rift Herald themselves. It's a good thing that Mason is not doing this solo, as UAM is now looking to see if they can respond in this. This might be our first big team fight here, and we will see where. One thing to watch in these team fights is this Malphite ult. He's going to wait and try to see if he can pick Caden off, but at that point he will be so far back in the back line of SNU that I don't know if that is going to be the best decision for him. And UAM just kind of have to give up their control of Rift Herald, and SNU just going to immediately plop it mid lane, and here it goes. Their SNU now looking to take control and see if they can get a tier 2. Malphite missing his ultimate, though, accidentally just hitting Rift, and SNU turning the fight in their favor, and Caden just kind of looking to 1v3 here. Maybe not the best decision his team has left him, and SNU now turning the fight on the Yorick. They see top side. Wow, Derek coming in from the top side, gonna go catch that Yorick out of position, and a huge kill from Derek. And wow, an amazing flash over from Thomas. Thomas gonna not finish this fight just yet. A flash over from Caden. Caden gonna ult, and Ezreal going to E out. And unfortunately in all of that, I'm not really sure where Cam died. I think he got picked off by Ezreal Eing over the wall. And so that is that mobility that the UAM bottom lane does have. And so now we're going to see SNU kind of do a big reset here. Caden gonna go probably look to buy his third item of the game, and we will see what he comes back with. That will be interesting to watch. We're going to see jungler Mason on J4 getting a Sundered Sky and a Black Cleaver. Sundered Sky, one of the best items in the game right now. But I do love kind of where Derek is going to take this Mordekaiser build. He is going to be a little bit more tanky, but the Rylai's Crystal Scepter is going to keep them slowed so MF's ult hits them more. And that is where your damage is right now. So anything to keep the opposing team into that MF ult is going to be very, very needed. Kaden now realizing where the UAM jungler is based off of that E, and a good job from Kaden stealing a couple of those minions. Again, really putting the UAM jungler about 50 CS behind. So he is very behind and really just trying to do anything he can to catch up here. And unfortunately, by doing so, he's going to have to give up some of the objectives, or UAM will have to make a team play on them. And it does not look like they're going to. They may try to snipe it with an Ezreal Q here, but SNU in the perfect position to make sure that does not happen. And SNU going to take their third dragon of the game. And like I said, the control of objectives that Mason has right now in this game has been elite. And that's exactly what you want to see, especially heading into playoff season. Just kind of just perfecting your macro micro play. I talk a lot about that, but that is the game of League of Legends. How can you perfectly make sure that your lane or your champion is set up to deal the best damage or be in the best position possible for you specifically, but then also for your team as your team starts to make plays around the map. Thomas going to launch a Q to see if anything sticks here, but SNU just too much pressure in the bottom lane and is going to take a tier 2 tower away from UAM there. And now SNU having both tier 1 and tier 2 towers in the mid lane and bottom lane, and Mason. Wow, Mason walking in, stealing a blue buff. UAM not happy about that. Derek gonna have to come down and help Mason. Mason just kind of trying to get out of this fight, but Derek gonna immediately just keep going. He's gonna go into the back line, get the Yorick kill. Thomas gonna TP in from the backside though. Here comes Mason right back. Here comes Mason's ult. Mason's ult's gonna get two of them trapped, and a beautiful double kill from SNU. And that is going to be a 3-for-0 and a Otacon for SNU. Free Otacon is not anything that you want to laugh at. Otacon, one of the most powerful beasts in this game. And Kaden going to accidentally run into an Ezreal here. And unfortunately for the Ezreal, Kaden just does too much damage. He has 7 kills. And so Kaden holding on to that Q, waiting for the Ezreal to E out and sniping him out of that map. And Ezreal without a Yuumi, not a good sight. If you are UAM, that is getting caught out of position is what we call that. So SNU now going to look to reset. Got the Otacon buff, up 3 dragons, and doing a very good job controlling this game to exactly the pace of play that they want it to be. Kind of just pushing it a little bit quicker than a normal game that we've seen from SNU. And I talked to them a little bit about that as well. Like when we are so far ahead, make sure that we continue the pressure. Make sure we're not just stalling games out. Because unfortunately in League of Legends, if you do tend to stall games out, there's a bigger and bigger chance that you have of just straight losing a game off one team fight. And so SNU going to just try to push the final of this game. Maybe look for one more team fight here. Maybe at this next dragon spawning here in 2 minutes. Baron's up in 3 minutes. But needing to look to maybe get this top tower down. Kind of open up the top side of the map a little bit more for SNU. Thomas is up there clearing out some of the minions. But let's take a look at the minions. Minion score across the board for the teams. Top side, York versus Derek, 171 to 153. And like I said, just a tough matchup. But pause on that. Thomas is going to have to get a huge stun here. He does. Mason going to be able to get out, but UAM committing a lot of resources to this top side. Kaden going to be able to sneak into the back and get 1 kill. Is going to look for 2 kills here. He gets a beautiful ultimate, and he does. Mason, though, ulting into 2 of them and getting both those kills. And so Mason going to take 2 of the 3 kills there from Kaden. Kaden probably pinging him a little bit or talking to him in the chat, saying that he stole his triple, but a beautiful job from SNU to respond to what was happening topside. And Derek is just getting bullied right now. A Yuumi and Yorick is just perma slow. Yorick having to flash into Derek to make sure he secures that kill. But meanwhile, SNU is just taking the entire base of UAM. So unfortunately, Derek had to die for a very, very big up for SNU, getting an inhib turret, and maybe now looking to get an inhib here. If Cam turns around and autos this Malphite, he does. Got the stun off. I would have loved to see that come out maybe just a little bit earlier, but no matter. Now Cam's going to be alone, unfortunately. Ezreal being able to snipe Kaden. If Cam hits this inhibitor, though, oh, Cam luckily doesn't need to, as the inhibitor does fall to the minions. And SNU going to lose three members, if you include Derek there, but able to get the inhib turret, a tier 2 top turret, and an inhib. So a very, very good trade here from SNU. Again, up 13k gold. And even just looking at the items across the lanes, I mean, bottom lane, Kaden 9, 1, and 5, having almost 4 complete items, should be able to buy a BF sword here any minute. And having upgraded boots compared to a Trinity Force and 1 other completed item from Ezreal. And so Ezreal not doing that bad, but just isn't able to keep up with Kaden right now. And Kaden almost having 100 CS more than him is very, very tough. Now UAM going to look to position for this 4th dragon, knows that they can't give this dragon up, but luckily for SNU has a TP up on Derek, SNU has a TP up on Thomas. Unfortunately, Mason just a little bit far away right now, but I think UAM right now is just kind of scared to commit to this dragon, knowing that they may not win a team fight unless they get a pick. So kind of just doing the dragon dance a little bit, waiting to see maybe if SNU steps out of position, and there goes an Ezreal Q over towards dragon, getting a big chunk of damage down onto Cam, however, though, and SNU may have to look to see what they can do here. I know Kaden, no chance in the world is he giving this dragon up, and so dragon gets pulled out of the pit. UAM not sure if they want to commit to this fight or not, and here they go, but just way too late if you're UAM, and Kaden just wants to just chase them down here. Maybe not the best idea. As they got their 4th dragon and look to reset in this game. Just a phenomenal performance again across the board, especially when you look over on Mason's side from the start of the game, getting that first blood as a SNU collective, but obviously going over to Mason, but he's able to push that advantage, clears his jungle maybe 45 seconds to a minute quicker than the UAM jungler, and Mason just putting the pressure onto the map right after that, immediately going down to dragon, getting a dragon kill, getting a counter gank onto bottom. Just a phenomenal job making sure that you know you're ahead in your lane, and how do you get your team ahead right after that. A beautiful stun though from Thomas, and a lot of damage going down. I was kind of expecting to see SNU maybe dive that, but good on them for holding back, knowing Malphite still has his ult. That would not have been a good position if you were SNU. And Derek now just kind of farming up top lane, making sure that lane stays pushed. And this is the macro micro play that I'm talking about. Just getting Malphite, getting ult in, kind of on a suicide dive mission there. And SNU turning that around. Yeah, Malphite trying to stop SNU from getting this turret, but is not going to happen. And SNU getting the getting the inhib tower, looking to get the inhib, but not only that, looking to take the game in a very, very dominant fashion. Maybe not as dominant as Caden's 18-1 the first game that they had, but he is 10-1. So a big team fight here. J4 into the Yorick, just kind of ult. Unfortunately for SNU, that's not a good position to be in, but able to all survive except Cam. Just one of those things that you get stuck in that Yorick shield or that Yorick wall, and there's so much that can get laid down on you. If you're on the UAM side, a Yumi ult came in, a Victor ult came in, and so now they're looking to chase down Kaden. Kaden gonna unfortunately get sniped there by the Ezreal auto attack, but on the top side of the map, SNU taking all 3 inhibitors, so we're gonna see double super minions now spawning in, and unfortunately for UAM, they're now on the full defense here, and going to have to play a lot of defense to stay into this game. Only down 14k gold now, but a lot of bounties coming up across the map. Kaden just lost his bounty, but Mason having a 700 gold bounty, Thomas having a 300 gold bounty, 800 to 500 gold bounty on the turret. So look to see if UAM maybe tries to make a play across the map for one of these bounties. But Baron is up, and I think we're about to see both teams head on over and do the little Baron dance. Derek going to go topside and clear some of these wards out. Fortunately, not able to get the one ward that he knows is there. Wards over the wall, however, and is going to look to get more vision into this top side of the jungle. Honestly, if you're SNU, now's the time to start it. You see both UAM's bottom lane and UAM's mid lane just kind of sitting in their base, which they have to do until their inhibs respawn. And just like that, SNU going to start it. I mean, and SNU kind of shreds this Baron. Malphite, sorry, I had to look over to make sure I just saw that right. Malphite flashing to make sure he doesn't get caught out there. So Malphite not having a flash to get into this last team fight, which to be honest, his ult kind of is a flash, but you like to use that a little bit more aggressive than defensively. And so UAM gonna try to set up maybe a little gank here from the back from Malphite and Yuumi. Some damage going out onto SNU, but UAM just not really in a position. Malphite's doing red buff as his base is dying and gonna have to pull off of his red buff and get back to the base, and is gonna just fully back. He's not gonna take the flank ability, and just fully back here as UAM looks to defend one of their Nexus turrets, but I don't think they'll be able to. Wave of super minions just got there and they're unable to hold that tower. Mason's gonna flash in and gonna get a huge knock up here. A little late ultimate though from Mason, but gonna get one kill if you are SNU. Kind of a little bit sloppier team fight this entire game, but able to get the job done. And now Caden is going to look to go deal as much damage as he can to end this game. SNU finishing off the Ezreal as they look and take down the Nexus for game 1 of this best of 5 series in SNU's favor. We will be right back as we gear up for game 2. We're going to take a quick break, run some commercials, get back into action in the pick and ban phase here any moment. We'll see you in a second.
In these challenging times, it's important to remember that Oklahoma can weather anything. At Re-Roof America, we work hard every day to protect what matters most to you, your home, family, and community, because we live here too. Our roofers are still working hard to keep your family safe and dry, no matter what is thrown our way. While we are apart for now, keeping our distance, together we will come back stronger than ever. So just remember, at Re-Roof America, we're keeping your family protected.
Here we go now. Oh, here we go now. Yeah.
Forgetting everything. We out here, it doesn't matter. Words are sharper than a dagger. I'm slowly losing air. Under pressure and together, acting crazy like the Hatter. Time's up, you're caught red-handed. Light years away, we're stranded. Let me know, can you reach to the surface? Can you reach to the surface? Let me know, can you reach
We are back, ready for game 2 action. UAM versus SNU GAC semifinals. Here is the second game, pick and ban. Going to be a quick pick and ban first phase. UAM not liking the just ability that the J4 had to just lock them down the last game. Gonna ban him, but not gonna see any other changes across the board. SNU sticking to the same 3 bans. UAM going to ban out Nyla and Silas again. So gonna be interesting to see who UAM picks. UAM loving to pick the characters, the champions that SNU plays. So we'll see how that pans out. UAM's top side just really doing a good job last game, holding Derek to make sure he doesn't kind of just pop off like he has been before. So we will see how this now turns into SNU's favor. Derek did hover Dr. Mundo last game, is going to pick it into this game. Like I said, Derek's Garen, his main champion, not really viable that much in this meta. Probably going to expect to see maybe a Yumi pick here from Cam, but again, I'd love to see Cam kind of extending his wings a little bit. There's a whole lot of supports to be played, and some very, very good lockdown supports. Nico, a very good support right now. A little bit more technical than some of the supports that Cam does play. Diana going to go maybe mid or jungle, one of my favorite champions in the game right now. Just so much mobility and ability to just kind of lock down a team with her ultimate or dashing into the backline for the more assassination side of her. And now going to go over to UAM. Very purple theme going on for SNU here. We'll see what skins they choose to make sure that they may not do purple theme. But UAM gonna lock in a Smolder, so kind of maybe looking towards later game. I don't like that pick very much. I'm gonna need a lot of damage early and mid game if you're UAM, because you know SNU is very aggressive in those phases. So we will see how they kind of play around what this Smolder can do. Maybe trying to get it a lot more stacks than usual. But now UAM going to lock in Teemo. Wow. I'm speechless. A Teemo. Usually more of a troll pick. But Teemo going to come out for UAM. Going to be the first time we've seen this all GAC last year and this year. UAM pulling it out in the playoffs. So going to see a Teemo jungle? You already have your top picked. You have your ADC picked. Not going mid. There's Yumi, like we expected from Cam. Gonna be interesting to see where this Teemo goes heading into our second pick and ban phase. We will see SNU start off the bans. Probably now going to maybe ban Victor. Going to ban Malzahar instead. Thomas going to say Victor was okay to play against. We'll see what they do with their last ban. Switching over to UAM side. UAM has the ability to start banning out ADCs, but instead bans Thomas's Galio. So a very mid-heavy ban here from this second half. We'll see if SNU continues the trend here on who they are going to ban. I think they probably are going to reach towards that Victor. Just the ability that he had to kind of control the game, and instead is going to ban Rakan. Really interesting ban, especially a Rakan Smolder. Maybe SNU, maybe just Cam just doesn't know that champion enough to be able to play against it. But UAM hovering Draven or MF, now just bouncing between a ton of different ADCs. Gonna leave the Misfortune up, instead bans Draven, one of the greatest champions in the game. SNU's now pick. I'm gonna look probably towards this ADC since Smolder has been picked, so I'm gonna assume it's gonna be Mordekaiser jungle for UAM, Smolder ADC, Teemo top. So we will see how Dr. Mundo fares against the Yordle himself in Teemo. And there it is, Yunara. Like I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, Caden has been playing around this Yunara. League Worlds has been playing around this Yunara. A very good pick currently in this meta. And one that is going to just really, in my opinion, punish the Smolder. A Yunari Yumi lane really should just put the pressure on Smolder. Maybe not going to be able to get enough stacks to get into its second and third phase. A beautiful pick, though, from UAM on Nico. Nico probably going to head down towards that support side. A very good flex, though, however. Nico can go mid, but right now is being played a lot in the support. A very tricky support, very technical if you're able to play it right. Nico's passive is one that she can transform into any other character on her team or a minion. And if you're able to play around that just right, you're able to catch the other team off guard with a Nico ultimate. And then a Zed mid lane, a very interesting team comp coming in from UAM. Not one that's just going to blow somebody up. Zed's going to try his best, but not a ton of follow-up after that. Malphite going to get locked in for SNU, and so we will see. They might trick you, and they might play Mundo jungle Malphite top. If they do play Malphite top, that will not be good going into a Teemo, however. And so I expect them to pick Mundo top, Malphite jungle, and expect a lot of ganks, because one good thing, again, from SNU's team comp is the ability to provide CC. When you look over to UAM's team comp, they don't have that again. Teemo may have a blind, Nico has a little bit of a lockdown, but I mean, really after that, you're kind of on your own. Zed has a tiny slow, Smolder has a tiny slow, but sorry, I'm reading their chat. But man, SNU having a great team comp, and this is exactly what I wanted them to work on heading into what this tournament would look like for them. I needed them to know just the ability to not lose the game in Champion Select. And unfortunately, I think kind of bit us a little bit when we were looking at the ECU games. Champion Select just wasn't a friend for us. We weren't really thinking the overall picture of what that looks like mid-game, late-game, team comp, how much CC we have, how many tanks we have, and it was just kind of falling back into the comfort picks that they're used to. And so having a big champion pool and just having the ability to spread those wings a little bit provides the ability for a team comp that looks like this. So a Yunara coming out, not something that we've seen a ton. Saw it first time last week from Kaden, but a Diana, not something we've seen a ton from SNU. And so both of those champions even just bringing a lot of pressure for SNU, and it may be Diana jungle, it looks like. So we're gonna see a cool Diana jungle from Mason, which I love. Again, so much pressure comes from Diana, and honestly, like I said last game, I would love to see a level 1 gank here for SNU, just providing all of the CC ability. But before we head into this 3-minute break, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll join you right after that to get you geared up for Game 2 semifinals GAC. Be right back.
In these challenging times, it's important to remember that Oklahoma can weather anything. At Re-Roof America, we work hard every day to protect what matters most to you, your home, family, and community, because we live here too. Our roofers are still working hard to keep your family safe and dry, no matter what is thrown our way. While we are apart for now, keeping our distance, together we will come back stronger than ever. So just remember, at Re-Roof America, we're keeping your family protected.
Here we go now. Oh, here we go now. Yeah. I'm on a mission. Are you seeing?
Electric glow in the rain, current up to the sky. You got me feeling just so bright. Universe out in space, sending signals tonight. You got me feeling just so bright. When I wait, it's critical that we find something that can contain all the light we have inside. Light we have inside. Light we have inside. Pump this party. Energy in the room when we dazzle sunrise. Got me feeling just so bright. Eyes on fire on repeat as we melt into the sky. You got me feeling just so bright. When I wait, it's critical that we find something that can contain all the light we have inside. Pull on the brakes, let the spark of your eye, and then I'll know that you got me feeling just so bright.
Here we go, gearing up for game 2 after a dominant performance. Game 1 from SNU, and now we're going to see where all of the champions are going into the lanes. Teemo Jungle for UAM. So I'm going to be honest, I hate it. Expect to see Mason really, really punish that, especially if SNU is able to get an early invade. It kind of heightens it a little bit more. SNU kind of needs that early invade in order to just really punish the Teemo Jungle. Going to be a lot slower of a clear from him, and so would love to see SNU roll up into that. But across the board there for UAM, you're going to have a Mordekaiser top, Teemo Jungle, Zed, mid lane, Smolder, and Nico in the bot lane. Nothing too crazy. Nico going to run Arcane Comment, something that we see usually from supports, whereas Yumi's going to run the Ahri in the bot lane. But Muno, Diana, Malphite, Yunara, and Yumi coming out for SNU. So something that we are going to love to see here. And still loading into the game. But again, when you just kind of look to see the CC ability, I know I've talked about it a lot, but UAM just not having a ton of it. And unfortunately, I don't think Teemo Mushrooms are going to be able to really block anything here. Diana's still going to be able to jump on you. Malphite's still going to be able to ult you. Mundo's still going to be able to run you down and throw his briefcase at you. And that is what I was worried about. Got a little disconnection error for the spectators, so we'll see if Josh is able to get back into the game. I think Josh got it as well. This does happen on the league client quite a bit, and so we will see if we're able to reconnect back into this game. I'm on my way on the reconnection. We'll see if it loads in completely. If not, it will be an interesting stream. It may just be one of the guys recording their POVs and no commentating for the last game, which would be unfortunate. But it looks like I'm also still running into the issue. Sometimes League Client is super buggy. This has been an issue for a little while. Oh, I'm in. I logged in. Here we go. All right. SNU going to start this game off. I actually don't know how far behind we are in this game. Yeah, across the board, asking if everyone is loaded in. I think it was just the spectators that were delayed a little bit. So we'll see if SNU decides to take this invade here. They aren't gearing up like they did last match for the invade. They are just going to their normal positions. UAM, however, sending a lot more people on the defense of the invade, not wanting to let happen what happened last game. Again, kind of unfortunate for SNU. Would have loved to see a topside blue buff invade. I don't know if if Josh is going to be able to get in the game or not. But if not, I should be able to share the screen here. All right, I will share my screen. So you're going to see my POV for the game. We'll see if Josh is able to get in. He does. Okay, so Caden going to catch UAM out of position here. Sneaky little bush tactic here from Caden and the bottom side. But UAM going to have to now back, maybe missing a lot of this first wave, which is, I mean, when you're picking a smolder, you can't do that. It's going to be way too hard for you to be able to get those stacks already in a game that's probably not going to go past 25, 30 minutes, that you're already missing your whole first wave. And unfortunately, Nico going to not soak up any of this XP too. Going to try to sneak in as Smolder and try to maybe bait SNU here. I don't think Caden's going to fall for it. Caden knows the timing too well, and is still preventing UAM Smolder from getting any of those minions. Look at that, 0 on the board for a champion that needs minions, needs their abilities to hit the minions. But again, would have loved to see SNU kind of deny this Teemo the blue buff. Teemo without blue buff in the jungle is just going to be so hard for him to do anything. Kenny going to miss his ability there, but getting a turnaround and stunned from Nico. Nico going to have to flash out. Yunara just doing too much damage in the early game, and I love to see this pick from Caden. This champion is so good, especially when it comes to trying to carry a lane. And so I'm excited to continue to see what this bottom lane is able to do. Again, so much pressure here from SNU in this bottom lane. And Nico trying her best to just kind of clear out that pressure, clear out those minions, but not able to do it. And Smolder's going to lose a ton of minions here. Maybe going to be able to get 2 or 3 from that, but not too much. Thomas doing a really good job in the mid lane as Malphite. I don't think when they picked Zed, I don't think they realized that they were picking it into a Malphite. And so not going to be able to do a ton of damage there from Zed. Zed usually wanting to just burst a champion and into oblivion, really, after they get 6. And here comes SNU getting 3 before UAM. And there's the first blood coming in on Caden. That is not something you want to see if you're UAM. Caden looking to see maybe if he gets another kill, but we're going to hold it here just for a little bit. I know there's some pressure going on top lane, but I do expect Caden to maybe try to dive here. Unfortunately, not able to finish off that kill, and Teemo just around the corner. So Caden going to get first blood, going to get that extra minions, or the extra minions as well. And so going to be up very big in this lane. Also going to hit this first tower plate. So there's 125 gold coming over to Caden as well. And so he's going to back just, I guess it's 63 because it's split. He's going to back with a lot of gold in his pocket. And SNU, again, focus in the bot lane here. And that is something that you want to see. Caden deciding not to back here, going to put the pressure onto the wave a little bit and going to make sure that trying to figure out some technical difficulties, but an early gank there from Mason getting the kill, but Zed doing a good job to make sure he doesn't get out with just a death, and he turns around and is able to kill Thomas in the mid lane here. Let me work on some technical issues that we are running into, but all should be good. So gonna see as we look across the board here, Mason again doing a very good job putting so much pressure on this Teemo already in the jungle, getting a kill early. Teemo not having any ability to gank. Obviously, he's not going to be able to do anything until maybe 6, and even then doesn't have a ton of gank potential. Is really going to play for more of that team fight, aspect. And we're going to now go back to Josh's stream so you guys can have sound. But yeah, gonna look to see again more of this bottom lane pressure. Smolder only having 22 CS is just really bad, unfortunately, and so SNU gonna need to capitalize on that. And one person that is capitalizing on what just happened is Thomas. Thomas running the Zed down and just doing incredible work there, getting that early kill. So Caden going to stay in the lane by himself here as Yumi goes up and does some warding. But even the Yunaro has so much pressure to just bully Smolder and Nico off of this lit wave. And Caden just kind of trying to run them down right now. Is going to be able to do it. But Teemo maybe has something to say about it. Again, like I said, not a ton of gank potential, but it doesn't matter when Teemo can just walk up to you and blind you. Caden not able to do any auto attacking when he is blind. So no damage coming out from Caden there, and he's going to have to heal and go back. So Caden still has his barrier up, so he may try to want to taunt here a little bit, this UAM bottom lane, to see if they can overcommit against him. And we're going to see it right here. Caden immediately popping barrier. Nico having to flash out, and luckily Teemo right there. But that does leave the position open for SNU to get a free dragon here. Zed actually going to try to come down and see what he can do about stopping this. And Caden going to keep the pressure on the bottom side, making sure his lane is still shoved up so much that all of the minions are dying to turret. And Smolder got a really late back there, so not going to get a ton of CS. Probably going to be 40 CS down here in about a minute. But SNU doing a good job like they always do on getting this first dragon, setting up a good position in bottom and mid to make sure they have enough pressure to where Diana is able to just roam down and do dragon by herself down in the bottom side. Top side, not much going on. A very equal matchup, kind of favoring the side of UAM a little bit more there, especially with the Mordekaiser just being able to pressure Mundo under tower. But Mundo able to dodge the CC ability like we just saw there. With his passive. So probably this one's going to be a lot slower top side than we saw last game. We'll see if Teemo's able to do anything, but going to be honest, probably not going to be able to run a Mundo down. But Caden, speaking of running down, is going to run down the UAM bot lane, and there it goes. Caden alting into the Smolder, but making sure they can maybe try to turn on this Nico. I can't tell if Mason was able to get that or not. It does look like Mason got one of those. So Mason going to get one. Tries to get his shield up, but doesn't get it in time. Mordekaiser going to turn around and get Mason and knock him down. But SNU going to take down the UAM top jungler and get out with one of the Void Grubs. So kind of exactly what we saw last game. A big team fight around the Void Grubs, making sure that UAM was not able to get all three of them. Mason able to sneak in there and get one, so a good job from Mason. Caden thinking about diving, decided not to dive there as Smolder tossed up his barrier, but Caden flashing, missing his abilities, but instead luckily getting one off on Nico, who flashed in. And Caden in the chat saying he's bad. Did miss his ability, but luckily hit Nico instead. And so across the map, we are going to see just SNU kind of taking a big lead here. 2.5K gold up, 2 kills to 5. again in the semifinal action of the GAC playoffs. We are excited to be here, looking to defend our reigning championship from last year. SNU, now Mason going to pull up to mid lane. There's a big ultimate coming onto the Teemo, and that is what is the unfortunate thing about a Teemo jungle not able to do anything about getting dove like that. And so UAM probably going to have to deal with a lot of that coming into maybe this mid or late game. I don't expect SNU to be going to this late game, to be honest. I expect kind of really SNU bottom lane to just shove this down and make sure that UAM does not have any bottom tower as it goes, and then that way, whoa, Zed gonna try to do everything he can to stop Malphite's back. Malphite just gonna turn around though and just delete him. And so a great job from Thomas there. Thomas gonna go up a kill, and SNU taking full advantage of this game, especially coming in a best of 3 series. SNU taking game 1 is exactly how you wanted to start a game 2. Really just kind of putting the pressure on the side of UAM, and man, Mason getting out of a 1v3 situation, especially after getting Nico ulted, is crazy work from him. So a good job there from Mason as SNU continues to look towards ending this bottom lane here, trying to get this tower as fast as possible and maybe switch up the lanes a little bit. But I do love the fact that they are making sure Smolder is not getting any stacks. Unfortunately, Kaden getting a little overzealous there and is going to get caught out of position. Yeah, Smolder only has 47 stacks 11 minutes into this game. Unfortunately, that is not what you want to see when you are playing a champion that needs stacks. And here goes SNU. Mason catching out a Teemo again is going to just dive him down and make sure that he doesn't escape, especially now. I think Dragon is about to spawn here any minute. And so excited to see SNU just kind of put the pressure again more onto this bottom side as they can kind of take control. Mason going to back and gear up for Dragon. Mason getting a Leandri's Torment round or first back is kind of massive for him. Gonna have a lot of burn pressure onto the enemy team. And when we look down at Kaden gonna get a Kraken Slayer. So just kind of increased physical damage from Kaden, especially against some of the tanks. So we're gonna see a lot more damage from Kaden against the Mordekaiser, who is doing really well on the top side for UAM. But that does not negate the damage that Kaden has done or is going to do in this game. And if you look bot side, Kaden is just really trying to get this tower down as quick as possible. Maybe just trying to shove it just so much that he should not be able to get countered. And Smolder is by himself. Would love a call out here from SNU that Smolder is mid lane. A good gank though from SNU top side. A flash ult from Malphite to kill their UAM mid laner, and Kaden probably getting the word that Smolder was no support, and so Kaden just kind of diving into the tower. Would have loved to see Cam hop off Kaden there and maybe take some tower shots as well. But SNU looking to get this tower, and there is the Smolder ult, and SNU just putting a lot of resources into getting this tower. I don't know when they're turning it around. There's a good first kill over onto the Smolder, but Smolder or Nico actually turning it around and killing Cam. And unfortunately, here comes Teemo. I don't think Teemo is going to be able to do much here. Kaden actually going to run into a shroom here and going to die. And so Teemo going to get a fat shutdown gold on Kaden and going to get his first kill of the game there. So SNU getting the first tower luckily, but unfortunately going 2 for 2 in that situation, and not something that you would have loved to see, especially with how easy it was to get to that tower. Maybe just get that tower and get out, but wasn't able to do so. And so SNU luckily going to get a second dragon there. Again, their focus is the objectives. Mason may look to try to get both of these kills. The ability that Diana has to do that is pretty impressive. And here she goes. She's going to be able to QE again. There's a 1Q. Going to be up in 2 seconds. It doesn't wait. Just goes an immediate another Q. Now it's on a cooldown for about 13 seconds. So Mason going to have to back out there. And SNU going to look to reset, but maybe going to get caught by Zed here. Here comes a huge ultimate, though, from Thomas, saving Mason's life. Mason flashing out of that, knowing that he's going to die if he does not. And so Mason needs to be very careful not to hit a shroom on his way out, especially as he starts to back. And here goes Derek. Derek has waited a very long time to get Mordekaiser into a killable position. Both of them ulting in. And we're going to see if Derek hits his Q. He does. Derek going to get that kill onto Mordekaiser. So a beautiful job across the map from SNU. Just making sure that they are taking complete control of every lane, pushing their advantage as much as they can. We are 8K gold ahead 15 minutes into this game. I mean, we're looking like SKT1 out here. I don't know if any of you guys got that reference, but good grief, this game is crazy. Mason on Rift already. Rift immediately spawns. Mason's there, making sure to grab Rift, and we might see exactly what he did last game. Is going to probably take Rift and immediately walk to mid lane. SNU going to collapse here on mid lane, try to push it in and maybe get that tier 2 tower, open up the map a little bit. We'll see. Mason goes to grab Rift Herald, and he's going to actually grab some Void Grubs on his way out. Or not Void Grubs, Scuttle Crab on his way out. And so we will see there. Diana going to get insta-ulted by Mordekaiser, but unfortunately for UAM, Mordekaiser needs to be in this fight, and he is not. So Diana on the retreat here, but it doesn't matter as Kaden looks to just clean up this entire fight. And SNU doing a good job. There's a triple kill coming out from Kaden. And that is the one unfortunate thing with this Mordekaiser pick. It doesn't matter how far ahead you are or how even you are in this game. Whenever you ult a SNU member, you are now taking yourself out of a fight where your team needs you as you are the only tank. And so we will see how that plays out, especially later on in this game. But Kaden might say, hey, there's no later on in this game. I'm ending this game now. Kaden getting the unofficial pentakill there, clearing out the entire UAM team. And we are now looking to see how quickly this game will end. Kaden going to catch Teemo out, and unfortunately I don't think Teemo needs to be in this position right now. The UAM flashing in. Zed going to try to do as much damage as he can, but a beautiful ult coming in from Cam gets the Zed stun, and Kaden ending that fight with more life than he started that fight with, which is kind of wild to me. But a good job there from SNU's bottom side to make sure he does not get caught out of position, and SNU getting a kill out of that. Very impressive. Teemo did die on the backside of that, so I did miss that. But SNU going to get 2 kills out of that and go up 13k gold with a lot of the objectives. Again, Mason just doing a very, very good job. Has double the CS that Teemo has, and we knew that would be a problem right from Champion Select for UAM. Just the fact that Teemo just isn't able to just put himself online in this game from the very start. But UAM going to try to pick out that Mundo. No shot. They're killing the tank. That is Mundo. Especially with his ult still up and a Heartsteel in his back pocket. He should be able to just run down the opponents here. And that's exactly what SNU is looking to do. SNU looking to end this game maybe before 20 minutes. Here comes a big team fight though. Mordekaiser immediately ulting Kaden, and Kaden gonna not care and going to try to kill this Mordekaiser in his ultimate. He does. Beautiful ultimate though from Thomas, knocking up the rest of the members from UAM. SNU cleaning house here, and then looking to end this game 19 minutes into it. A beautiful performance, and that is one of those performances, just an absolute domination from start to finish from SNU. Quick game, looking to kill the Nexus here before 20. Actually, they're looking to get more kills. But a beautiful game from SNU, a beautiful series as they look to defend their GAC win last year against the winner of ECU and OBU next week. Tune in next week for that championship game. We will have a player interview. I'm going to, Josh, pass the word. I'm picking Mason as my MVP. Actually, let's get the whole team. Since they don't have to be on camera, let's get the whole team over there. They can pick who answers the question. But Mason is going to get my Primal Nerds MVP of the game. The amount of pressure that Mason was able to put on the map from start to finish both games, especially after the early invade in that first game, has just been unreal. Really setting the team up just kind of for the best advantage that you can ask for in any League of Legends game. Usually it's always blame the jungler. This time I think the jungler kind of hand-fed you a good win. So great job to SNU, and I will wait to hear them in my ear for when they get here for a good little interview. Let's see if I can see if OBU or ECU are playing. I do think their game is going on. Oh, they're ready. Can they hear me, Josh? Hello, guys.
Hello. Can you hear us now?
Well, I don't know if you guys heard. I picked Mason as my Primal Nerds MVP of the game, but I wanted to talk to all of you guys so you guys can pick who the person that answers the question is. But I wanted to kind of break down just the game plan that you guys had going into tonight's game. Very great champ selects. What went into that as you prepared for UAM?
Yeah, so we decided that in the jungle position, we wanted to go for more of a team player. So that's why you saw the Jarvan in the first game and the Diana for a good team fight in the second game. And that was just our plan, is to play as a team, no solo carries.
Yeah.
And just try to help our top laner out when we can.
And that was the plan the whole time. I mean, obviously, the invade on game one, we wanted the Jarvan to get the kill. Caden was not screaming his head off or anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't see 50 pings come out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw who carried that game in the end. So
That's why you're my MVP.
exactly.
Well, it worked out to perfection. You guys got to put a lot of pressure on UAM that entire first and second game, really, from start to finish. When you look at kind of next week and what that looks like, ECU up one game right now on OBU. What is that kind of just preparation look like, as you guys just played them last week? Your only loss of the season, kind of the rematch of the championship game last year. What are you guys feeling about that?
well, I mean, it's about how it went last year, actually. If you remember last year, we lost to ECU in the regular season. They went undefeated, and then we ended up winning in the finals. So while they might look like a better team and they might have beaten us, we're scrimming good teams. We're practicing. We're readying up, and we're going to beat them next week.
I love to hear that. Well, guys, congratulations again on making the JAC finals. I'm excited to see you guys play next week. I will be there live and in person commentating,
Yes, sir.
so that'll be a lot of fun. But a huge shout out to Cam for hitting that Nautilus hook to start off this series. I don't know how he hit it, but
No one
I'm
knows
happy
how he
for
did
him.
it. Not even Cam knows how he did it.
Well, congratulations, guys. I will see you guys next week.
Check one. When I come down right to the sun. Check one. When I come down. I check one. When I come down right to the sun. Check one. When I come down. I.
This money you fi born west, money you fi born west, money you fi dead. When the eagle a fly, that pick out the eye and chop out the head. And the way you me come, me no lose that I want yet, blood that fi shed. If I from me walk with a friend in a bed, give me eye. Money you fi born west, money you fi born west, money you fi